how does the gacha system work in Tower of Fantasy? First things first, let's talk about the resources used for pulling. For characters/weapon banners alone, we use gold, black, and red Nucleus. Black and gold Nucleus gives us characters from the standard banner, while red Nucleus are used for pulling on the time-limited banners. As most gacha game goes, there's going to be a single and multi-pull option. In ToF, the multi is 10 pulls, and by doing 10 pulls, you will get either an SR or SSR character. Well, it's going to be an SR most of the time, but no harm in hoping for that gold light, right? Furthermore, for each gold Nucleus pulls that you do, you get 1 black gold. Black gold is a currency that can be used on the weapon store to exchange for a copy of a weapon. A single copy costs 120 black gold, and you can only buy 2 copies of a particular weapon per week. Also, take note that in this weapon store, you can only buy a copy of a weapon once you've unlocked that specific weapon. If you are on a new account, 30 gold Nucleus pulls will guarantee your very first SSR character, and you can even choose what weapon type you would like to have. We have DPS, tank, and support weapon. After that, the guaranteed SSR pool will stay locked at 80 pulls. This PT count won't reset even if you get an SSR character before reaching your 80th pull. We also have black Nucleus pulls where you can get SR and SSR characters, but the chances of getting them here are very low. There's no PT system for this one, and the SSR characters that you can get here are limited to the 1.0 standard characters. In case you get an extra copy of a character/weapon that you already own, it will automatically turn into a fusion core which you can use to increase that weapon's advancement. In Tower of Fantasy, we refer to weapon stars as advancements, so a 0-star weapon is called A0, 1-star is A1, and so on and so forth. The maximum stars for a weapon is 6 stars, and when you get another copy for a character/weapon that's already A6, it automatically converts into black gold instead. Getting a copy of a maxed SR weapon will give us 1 black gold, and as for maxed SSRs, we get 10 black gold. Alright, let's move on to the important part, which is the limited banner pulls. Technically, it has the same concept with what we've just discussed about the standard banners or gold Nucleus pulls. PT counter is also locked at 80, and it won't reset even if you somehow get an SSR before reaching the 80th pull. Now, listen carefully because this is a very common misconception new players have about the PT on this 80th pull. While it is indeed a guaranteed SSR weapon, this doesn't mean that the SSR weapon that you'll be getting is the one specified on the weapon banner. This is simply where the 50-50 system is applied, so even if you're guaranteed an SSR weapon, there's still a 50% chance that you'll be given a different weapon/character instead. If you really want to guarantee getting a single copy of any limited character, then assuming that you already have all of the SR characters at max stars, you need to have at least 110 red Nucleus ready, because if you haven't forgotten yet, we still have the exchange system on the weapon store, and limited character banners have its own separate shop located over here. The only difference is that instead of black gold, limited banners uses a different currency called flame gold, and once we've accumulated 120 flame gold, we can buy a copy of the weapon even if we don't own the weapon yet. Before we move on to the Matrice Banners, let's have a quick briefing of what Matrices are used for. Matrices are these chips that we equip on weapons which grants us different kinds of buffs. There are 4 different chips, namely Mind, Memory, Fate, and Emotion, each having their own respective slots. The buff that we get varies on the matrice, and they only work when either 2-piece or 4-piece of the same matrice is equipped. This means that you can either go for the complete set of a certain kind, or mix 2 different kinds of matrices together. One more thing you might want to be aware of are the offhand and on-hand matrice effects. There are certain matrice sets that only works when you're using the weapon where the matrice is equipped. For instance, we have Lyra's 2-piece set effect, which increases our attack stat by a certain percentage. Notice how the buff only works when I'm using this particular weapon. This is what we call the on-hand effect. Meanwhile, off-hand effect works the other way around. As long as you put the matrice on any of your equipped weapon, the buff will take effect even if you're not using that particular weapon. Another phrase we use for this is that the matrice works on the background. Okay, we've strayed a bit there, but back to the main topic. Let's take a look at the Matrice Banners. For this one, the standard pulse and limited banner pulse isn't really that much different from each other. The PT counter is at the 40th pull, chances are 50-50 as always, and buying a specific copy on store requires 80 chips. We get 1 chip for each matrice pull, but unlike the weapon banners, getting copies of matrices that you already have at max stars won't give you extra chip currency. The only difference we have between the standard and limited banner is this restriction option, which allows us to block a certain matrice type to drop. You make use of this feature when you want to prevent getting a similar copy of a certain matrice. Last and not least, let's talk about the hidden PT in ToF's Gacha system. Although before we start, just a bit of disclaimer here. What I'm about to disclose is something that is already well known to the community, and plenty of players can vouch for this piece of information, myself included. However, since this was never confirmed nor denied by the devs, we have no idea if this is going to be a lifetime feature in the game. So what is this hidden PT system? Basically, the theory states that you will never win or lose 3 PTs in a row. This means that if you win 2 PTs in a row, your next off PT or 50-50 is going to be a guaranteed loss. Same thing applies the other way around. If you lose 2 PTs in a row, then your next off PT or 50-50 is a guaranteed win. This hidden PT carries over to any of the other limited weapon banners, and it doesn't reset either. What's more, the hidden PT also applies to the limited matrice banners, which have a separate PT counter from the weapon banners. Top this off with the currency exchange on Weapon Shop, and you would be able to manage your resources better and plan your pulls accordingly. I'm not sure if I explained that properly, so if you want a more detailed explanation about the hidden PT, you can just head over to ToF Reddit and type hidden PT on the search bar. There's plenty of posts about it there for your reference. If this video helped you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.